Hi, everybody. Sorry I'm late. I had a rough morning. I The difficult thing about farm life is losing an animal, right? And I know that to be a successful farmer, we have to be okay with that, but I am not a successful farmer. I'm a failed farmer and um something got one of my roosters and all I see is the evidence of his feathers, and two of his ladies are mourning today and they wouldn't even come out for worms, and it's really upsetting. I told Rob he's not allowed to free range them when nobody's home, and I'm sure that my guy sacrificed himself for his ladies and made sure that they're all safe, so he did his job, which is why you want a rooster, one of the reasons why. But it just breaks my heart because that stuff doesn't happen when I'm home. And so I went out looking to see if I could maybe find him and he was injured or something. But anyway, I had a really good time at market. But so that all happened because I noticed it on my way to the studio that there was this pile of feathers and I had to go investigate, and he's nowhere to be found and whatever. So I'll go out looking again, but I didn't want to leave you all hanging because, I have to be consistent and whatever. And that's also not a good way to start a Monday morning and a live when it's supposed to be good things, quilting and, all of those things. So um, I wanted to fill you in on my trip to market. It's still going on. I went with my fabric company, so they just had me come for a schoolhouse on Friday, and then I worked the booth Saturday, and then I flew home yesterday on Sunday. But I pretty much didn't get a whole lot of sleep through the course of that whole trip because I only slept for, I think, like 2 or 3 hours the night before I left. And then there was the time change and all of the stuff that happens with traveling, normal stuff, nothing earth shattering. But I think my anxiety was so high. And so I have a trouble sleeping most of the time, anyways. But the bed wasn't that comfortable. I mean, the bed, I guess, was fine, but I was having problems with pillows. The pillows weren't that comfortable. And anyway, so I just had a hard time sleeping while I was there. And then I had to get up so early to catch my flight home. And it's not like, when you're flying to Spokane, Washington, you don't have a whole lot of routes. So my um, pickings were kind of slim as far as how I was going to get home. So I had to get up at, um, like, I had to meet my Uber driver at 4 to be picked up. And then I couldn't sleep anyways, because then I was worried I wasn't going to catch my Uber driver. So I slept like 90 minutes the night before I came home. And anyway, so by the time I got home yesterday, I did a few chores, got myself situated, and then fell asleep on the couch. And I took a nap until dinner time and then woke up. But today is supposed to be a really good day. I was so excited because I have my flannel on and I feel warm and cozy, and I have my wool socks on, and I'm able to just wear my house slippers rather than my fancy boots that I wore the whole time to be comfortable or to be professional. And, I wanted to like take some of my slippers or house shoes with me, but I was packed to capacity with my bags that I had to pack my clothes in my backpack to my one personal item to get there. So the shoes that I wore were going to be the shoes that I had to wear the whole time. And so I made that choice. And, um, but glad to be home in my comfy clothes and my stretchy pants and all of those things. So, um, as far as quilt market, so I think it went well. The schoolhouse went well, and I got through it. I don't remember a whole lot. I remember getting out of order and I forgot to share the quilts. So I had to go back after I had talked about all of the quilts to share the quilts that I had just talked about, because I kind of was like, it's completely different. I go give a guild talk and I had to like learn how to do that. And I've gotten more comfortable doing that. I still get very nervous, but I can at least do it because I've done it so many times and I've practiced it, right? But those are other quilters. Um, and so when you give a schoolhouse, you're basically giving it to your peers, other industry professionals, because you're talking to quilt shop owners, which is far different than just talking to a quilter. I mean, because they want to know why they should buy your product to sell in their store, what is special about your product. And I've never given a talk from that point of view. And so I didn't know what I was really supposed to do, what they would find interesting, what do I have to offer. It was all like really a learning experience. And I watched in on a schoolhouse for one of the other designers, that work for the same company that I do before I did, but she has owned her own quilt shop. She was a sales rep and now she's a designer. And so she knows all of the lingo and everything and what would be great for them because she's been on all sides of it. And I have not experienced that. So it was all kind of a little overwhelming. And I was trying to like keep everything in my stomach and not start crying because I was so nervous with everything. But in the last minute, I just decided to be myself because if they were going to have me memorize a bunch of things, that wasn't going to work. It wouldn't seem authentic. So I just did my best to tell my own stories and why I designed this panel and homestead patchwork and why it is so special to me, hoping that maybe they understood the story behind it, then maybe that would make it easier for them to sell. And the feedback that I got was that they love the story. So hopefully that's enough. I have no idea. Trying to sell a pink barn to people who don't know the story and who don't know me personally or follow me personally, or a lot of people might not get it. And that was my reservation about putting out the homestead pet or homestead holiday um, line, is because I, of course, want to tell my own story. And you know, my artwork needs to reflect that. But to the average shop owner who doesn't know who I am, because that's quite frankly most of them, are they going to understand the pink barn and the colorful trees and the chickens and all of that thing? Um and thinking about that this morning, DJ is one of the chickens on my panel. And so at least if I can't find him and he is in fact gone, he is sort of memorialized in that way. And anyways, so I got through that, and my fabric company was happy with it. So I'm happy to make sure, I just wanted to make sure that I'm meeting the goals that they want for me. And then I have to tell you, the greatest thing about being at market for myself, I'm already an established designer. So I wasn't there. I was specifically there for my fabric company and launching my fabric. So a lot of designers, maybe if they're new, they will go to this show and hand out their patterns, try to meet people, and they're trying to break into the industry as far as like getting into distributors, talking with fabric manufacturers to be on their pattern partner list and things like that. So, I don't have to do that anymore. I've already done all of that hard work, right? So, for me, I have been working with all of these people for 5 years now, right? 2019, yeah, 5 or 6 years now. But the difference for me is that I've never been to this big show, and this is a chance to meet people that I've been working with and see their face for the first time. Because sometimes, I mean, there's like several people where we just exchange emails. I have no idea what they look like. I have no idea who they are. Um, other than I know what company they are and what their names are. And then sometimes, if it's another designer or something, we might be in peer groups, and then you see this little, like, picture of them. And you know, as much as we represent ourselves and everything out there, sometimes it's hard to get a grasp until you meet someone in person. And so it was nice to really just go and see all of those people and meet them in person after working with them for all of these years, and just like saying, "Hey, thanks for helping me along the way. Thanks for working with me. Thanks for, all of these things." And there was a few specific people that I wanted to go out of my way to go say hello. And what was really nice is that, many of the fabric companies that I work with, really just did say, "Thank you for selling fabric for us, and thank you for all that you do for us." And that made me feel really good that that I've also helped them in some way, because they have helped me. And so I felt really good about that. And then I did have a chance to see that, like, Kay Fawcett was there, and he was signing books with Brandon. And so they had all that. I didn't have time to like wait in line, and I didn't know that he was going to be there because I haven't been really paying attention. I've been so busy getting my samples done and everything. But had I been paying attention, maybe I would have taken one of my cave books and had him sign it. But I did see him and whatnot, and the line of people that were waiting, um, and Anna Maria Horner, and just, and I did go and say thank you to Sue Spargo. And I say that because I'm a long arm quilter, and I'm always looking for new clients. I have several machines, and um, she I get new clients from her regularly, because there are many long arm quilters who don't want to quilt wool quilts, and I happen to be one of them. And so they send me, or send their people, my name all of the time. And so I just wanted to go up and thank her for sending me that work. And she was very gracious, and said, "You're welcome," and all of that things. So even people who maybe just don't understand the impact that they have on those of us that are, don't have the big followings and all of the stuff that they have. So it was just really nice. It was really nice, and really nice to just like give a hug to all of those people, and see them and feel inspired, because we get to working in the grind all of the time, and sometimes it's hard to like really take a moment and just take all of that in. And I think I was able to do that at market. So that was really good. And then I was able to meet the owner of my fabric company in person, and my marketing director. And what's interesting about, I mean, a lot of people couldn't believe that me and Susan, she's my marketing director, it was our first time meeting in person, because we have been working together since 2019. when she became a mentor for me from when she used to work at Michael Miller Fabrics. And so we have been in contact with each other throughout that whole process. And she has really been pivotal in helping me with my career. And so for us to meet in person was really a great thing. And I was just um, really just filled with all sorts of good things. I feel like um, when you get to see someone in person and see how they are, and all of those good things, and having dinners together and sharing stories and doing all of that kind of stuff, I think it helps build that connection and those relationships, and then you're more fully invested in each other. And so I think all of those things were good things. um, do I think that if I were on my own, that I would pack my trailer, drive, or ship a whole ton of products down to market and get my own booth? No, I don't think I ever want to do that for many reasons, but it's really expensive. I don't think that I could recoup my money back from that. And I think that I'm established enough that I don't need to make those types of connections. I feel comfortable going and contacting any of the companies that I want to work with. Is it nice to meet people in person? Yes, absolutely. But I don't think I need to spend ten to $20,000 to do that, or whatever. So I am perfectly content with the progress that I'm making now. It's just funny to me that um I again, I've told you guys so many times that type of money is a lot of money for me, and I just can't put myself in debt for something like that. And I just don't take risks, uncalculated risks. I'll take some risk, but not an uncalculated risk, or I just feel like, or throw my money away, basically, is how I feel. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens in the future, but I am glad to have the experience. I feel like I'm getting a whole lot of first time experiences in these last couple of years, which have been really amazing. And I'm learning loads of stuff. And I feel like um, still, after all of this time, the sky is still the limit, which is amazing because I don't know the doors that need to be opened or that can still be opened, but I'm always amazed that there is still more doors to be open after all of this time. And so it's going to be very interesting to me next year, how many other doors do I have the opportunity to open, right? Um, I had an interview on the last day before I left, and I'm waiting to hear back, but I feel like it went really well. I left the interview crying and just like really excited that there could be a new deal on the horizon, and such a great opportunity for me. And so just pray for me for that. And um, let's see. For those of us that quilt for fun and relaxation, do tend to take for granted it's work for you guys and can get as stressful or everyday work life. It really is. Um, and that's sort of the crux of it, really, because those of us who do this for a living, most of us, maybe not all of us, but most of us started out as it being our hobby. And then when we start selling our hobby for a living, it gets a little bit thorny, right? Because we love sewing and we want to do that, but other things get in the way. So when I was a long arm quilter, only before I had become a designer, I was an avid piecer. I pieced all of the time, and I kept saying, because people said, do you want to become a pattern designer? And I would say no. And I said that simply because, not because I didn't think that I could do it or for whatever reason. I had lots of other reasons, but my main reason was I don't want to sell that portion of my hobby because I was already selling quilting, and my time, I had to spend all of my time quilting, and my quilts would be the last ones quilted, right? Because I had to quilt everybody else's stuff. And if I sold patterns and my designs, then that would mean that everything that I pieced would be for business. And did I want to give up that outlet? Did I want to give up that piece of me and my hobby for that? But then, I tore my rotator cuff. I had to figure out a different income stream. And so then I sacrificed that for that. So now everything that I piece, I have to be very intentional about when I have a project that I want to work on outside of my business, to make time to do it and just have fun sewing, rather than everything that I piece. I either know what it's going to look like ahead of time because I had to do all of the digital stuff. I'm in a really crunchy deadline that I have to get it done. And, it's for a specific line of fabric. So I can't just plug in what color or fabric. I can't play with the design. It needs to look exactly the way that I've mocked it up digitally. And so that kind of takes some of the freedom and stuff away from that. And I don't get to so much enjoy the process anymore because I don't get to just make one block and admire it and then move on. I have to make all of them. And my mind sort of works in an assembly line anyway. So unless it is a sampler quilt or something that I have to make one of, I typically don't do that. But sometimes I think, wow, it would be nice if I could. And so now the parts, I have to either be very intentional and carve out time specifically to sew for personal sewing time, and then I'll feel guilty if I have anything sitting on the counter that I need to get done because I if I have work, I should do it because that's just my mentality and my work ethic. Or it's nice to have a hand project that I can just sit and watch TV at the end of the day, not feel guilty because I'll be out of my studio to do it. And I can just take my time and work on it as I have time, and I don't have a deadline and all of those things. So it is very difficult. And I think most of the time people think as a designer, all we do is sit and sew all day. And that is like really far from the truth. A lot of times now, too, I have sample makers that just love to sew, and it is their hobby, and they sew for me. And sometimes it's just not as exciting for them if they have a deadline. So I try not to, as much as I can, pressure them with things because I don't want them to experience that type of burnout. And, when they want to rest, they just tell me they want to rest. And I am happy to do that and work around whatever because it is a blessing to me that they are willing to do those things, sew those samples. So, yeah, we don't get to spend our day sewing. We spend a lot of our day on the computer. Everything is really done digitally now. I mean, so much of the process is done digitally. I have meetings every week, Zoom meetings, and just all of the stuff. And then now with traveling, and for many of you that know, I don't particularly like traveling. I hate road trips. Um, And so that is like the last thing I ever want to do. I hate driving. If I was like one of those really wealthy people, I don't know that I would need a chef or someone like that, but I would love a chauffeur just because I absolutely hate driving and I'm just not like the best driver. I'm a terrible driver. And the older that I get, I am even getting somewhat worse that I don't want to drive at night and I go incredibly slow and I just don't particularly like it. So, um it's stressful to me. And so uh and then I like being at home. I like eating my own food, sleeping in my own bed, being with my husband and my animals and I but I do it too for a couple of reasons. One, I think it's sort of required of my job at this point. And two, because I need to push myself. I need to stretch myself and grow, and I learn every time I go out. And the only thing that makes me do it is that I love people, and I um, love. I don't necessarily love the getting there and the getting home, and some of that in between stuff. But I really do love connecting with people and being around people and not only inspiring them, feeling inspired by them. And I know that there's some sort of purpose in that. So I think that it's good for me to go out and do those things. So, so I try to do those things and be a team player. My fabric company really wanted me to go to market. So I went to market. It was my first time. And I think that was kind of shocking to some of those industry professionals that they just, oh, this is your first time at market. You've been working in the industry this long and it's your first time at market. And it's like, yeah, I haven't had to go so far. So I haven't basically. So that is kind of the gist of all of that. And so this week today, I'm going to get my packages out, the orders that came in while I was gone. So I'm working on that this morning. I'm going to go see if I can find my rooster, if there's any way to save him. And that's about it. So I have a lot of stuff to get done this week because I fly out on Sunday to teach in Ohio. So I'll be doing a lot of long arm quilting because I promised several people that I would get their quilts done this week. So that is the other thing that I'm going to be working on. So other than that, I hope you all have a really great week. I hope you learned something from the market recap, and I will catch you next week. Okay, bye.